So far, my experience as a babysitter has only been about 6 months or so. It's a way to make money easily without needing to learn any real, practical skills. The pace was slow at first, but a few months ago, a young couple living in the wealthy part of town asked me to babysit their 2 children on a Friday night, and I felt like I had won the jackpot. They paid me $200 to take care of their very well-behaved children for 3 hours in a house 5 times bigger than mine. It was great. The young couple must have thought I did well, because word spread about the kind young lady willing to take care of your children, so you can go out and have a night filled with alcohol and revelry, quickly spread throughout the affluent neighborhood. And when I say that this community is one of the wealthiest in the country, I'm not exaggerating. Most people living there are young couples under wealthy family names. Sometimes I would babysit for a few hours and earn a few $100s. Other times the parents would have me stay overnight while they would leave the house and go out to book a room so they could get away from their children and change their pace of life. That's when I really made money. A few days ago, a couple sent me an instant message asking if I could spend the night at their mansion and help look after their 7-year-old girl. I happily agreed. If only I knew what I was getting into. When the day finally arrived, I drove my old Jeep, weather-beaten and worn, to the edge of the wealthy neighborhood and successfully entered this private driveway I had never noticed before, as the entrance was hidden within the woods that encircle the entire northern end of town. I drove up the steep, winding driveway, and about 10 minutes later, the house finally came into view. Comparing it to all the houses I've been to as a babysitter, this house easily took the title of the most elegant architecture I've ever seen. It was a large Victorian-style mansion with dark brown bricks laid on top, blending perfectly with the surrounding forest. I got out of the car and arrived at the porch in front of the house, knocked on the huge wooden door. A few seconds later, a beautiful woman in her 30s came to the door and introduced herself as Mrs. Collins. She called her husband down, and soon after, a very handsome man, also in his 30s, holding a very cute little girl's hand, came down the grand staircase. The couple seemed very anxious about leaving the house. Even though they were both elegant people, I could tell beneath their beautiful appearance, both were extremely tired and haggard from taking care of their 7-year-old child. Clearly, they were both very excited about having a night to themselves and could not wait to leave the house as soon as possible. However, before the Collins left, Mrs. Collins handed me several documents herself and said that she had written some guidelines for me to get through the night. She emphasized to me how important it was to follow her guidelines, and I assured her that I would look at those documents. As they drove down the driveway in their expensive Mercedes, I waved goodbye to the beautiful young couple and then closed the large door behind me. I briefly checked the guidelines, then folded the documents and stuffed them into my back pocket, telling myself I would look at them later, which was a very foolish thing to do at the time. The Collins daughter, Samantha, is a very kind and young girl. I liked her almost immediately, and we spent the next few hours playing games and watching TV. After we finished watching the 5th episode of Young Commandos Go, I noticed that it was getting late and asked Samantha what her bedtime was. She shrugged, not giving me a direct answer. Then I remembered Mrs. Collins' guidelines. I took out the folded papers and quickly scanned through them when I saw a line that read, "Samantha must be in bed by 8 p.m. I checked the time and found it was already close to 7:45 p.m. "Well, it seems it's time for you to go to bed," I said, picking up Samantha from the sofa so I could help her get ready. She brushed her teeth, and I tucked her into the middle of her California king-size double bed. I said goodnight to her. As I was about to leave the room, she said something that made me freeze instantly. "Don't forget to lock my door before you leave." She said this and I stopped in my tracks, looking back at her in confusion. "What do you mean?" "Lock your door." "What does that mean?" I asked. "Why would I need to lock you in? What if you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night?" She looked at me innocently and shrugged again. "I don't know, but Mommy always locks my bedroom door before I go to sleep at night. She says it's to protect both me and herself. I don't remember what happens after I fall asleep, but Mommy says I always try to leave my room at night, and that's a very bad thing." I stared at her, speechless, not knowing what to say. "Mommy told me she would leave instructions for you, to follow them, and locking my door is one of them. She said that." Okay, Samantha, I'll lock the door. Good night, little sweetheart," I stammered. She gave me a big smile and rolled into her bed. I closed her bedroom door and noticed a bolt embedded in the door frame, allowing the door to be locked from the outside. After securing the bolt, I went back downstairs so that I could read the rest of Mrs. Collins' instructions. When I first saw these pieces of paper, my preconceived notion was those were merely instructions on which TV shows Samantha wasn't allowed to watch, or perhaps explanations on how to operate surround sound. After I began to read them carefully, I realized I was wrong. I was utterly and completely wrong. "Hello, Annie. I'm so glad you're willing to take care of Samantha for an evening. She's an absolute angel, and I guarantee you two will get along very well. I know our house may look old and creepy, but please don't worry, because as long as you follow a few simple instructions, nothing bad will happen to you. 1. First, Samantha must be in her room and in bed by 8 p.m. and lock the door. Do not open her bedroom door after 8 p.m. Let me repeat, do not open Samantha's bedroom door after 8 p.m. She will try to persuade you to open the door in all sorts of ways, crying, screaming, and threatening you until you give in. But do not listen to her. Just keep the door firmly closed, and she cannot harm you. 2. Between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m., please make sure you stay in the living room with the lights on. Around this time in the evening, you might hear scratching or growling sounds from Samantha's room or elsewhere in the house. As long as you stay in the living room, there is no need to worry about these sounds. Watch TV to pass the time. We have many movies to choose from. 3. After 9:30 p.m., do not venture into the dark areas of the house. I would advise you to turn on as many lights as possible before 9:30, so you do not inadvertently trap yourself. As time goes on, you may start to see things hiding in the dark, and they may even try to talk to you. Just ignore them, and they will eventually ignore you as well. You might occasionally see a pair of yellow cat-like eyes staring at you from the darkness. Do not stare into them for more than 30 seconds. 4. Around 10 p.m., you may begin to hear the sound of several people moving around in the basement below. Please do not worry, as they will not affect you, as long as you stay away from the basement. I know it sounds unlikely, but during this time, you will start to feel a strong desire to go into the basement. If this happens, go to the kitchen and have a glass of cold, fresh milk. It usually helps. That urgent need will usually subside after 10 minutes. However, if that desire still exists after 10 minutes, and you believe you cannot suppress the urge to go to the basement, then please call me or Mr. Collins, and we will tell you what to do. 5. As the time approaches 10:30 p.m., you will begin to hear the sound of something running back and forth in the upstairs hallway. During this period, please make sure to stay on the first floor. Do not worry about Samantha. As long as you have locked her room in advance, she cannot be approached. If you start to hear it coming downstairs, then please lock yourself in the first floor bathroom, and don't forget to turn on the light. It will keep knocking on the bathroom door, and to tempt you to open the door for it, It will impersonate someone close to you, such as your mother or father. It is really good at this. No matter what it says to you, no matter who it sounds like, do not open the door. It should leave after 5 minutes. Check the gap under the door before opening it to make sure it is no longer there. 6. This step is crucial now. You will be sleeping in the guest room upstairs tonight. Before going to bed, make sure to leave a plate of raw steak outside the door. You can find it in our refrigerator. And similarly, leave a cup of fresh milk next to the plate. On a piece of paper, please write down the words "Parkent mihi" in red ink and leave it on the plate with the raw meat. Also, sometimes at night you may wake up and notice something standing in the corner of your room. Please restrain yourself and avoid looking at that figure as much as possible. I suggest you wear earplugs so you won't hear its muttering. That's basically it. In addition, there are a few general rules you should follow at night, just to make sure nothing bad happens. Rule 1: if the home phone rings at any time in the evening, no matter how long or loud it may ring, do not answer it. If we need to contact you, Mr. Collins and I will call your cell phone. Rule 2: if at any time in the evening you feel something tap your shoulder, do not turn around and wait at least 30 seconds before making any movement. Rule 3: do not eat meat after 8 o'clock. They may perceive it as a threat and are likely to attack you. I thank you once again, Annie. If you encounter any trouble or any problems, please feel free to call me or my husband at any time of the night. If you do call us, and a very deep male voice answers, hang up immediately and try to contact us again. Also, throughout the night, you may hear a dog whimpering somewhere in the house. We do not have a dog, so do not go looking for it. I still haven't figured out what kind of trouble I've gotten myself into as I write this down. It's now 8:31 p.m., and the growling sounds have just started, which sound like they are coming from every corner of this damn house. I thought Samantha's scream a few minutes ago was the worst part, but now I can hear her muffled growling upstairs, and I assure you it's even worse. This is really very bad. The story is over. If you like stories like this, please like it at the bottom right of the video or share it with your friends. And also welcome to leave a comment below the video to share your thoughts.